guys, it's the Curious Owl here, and this is now my March 2017 favorites video. So this month was pretty cool. A lot of good things happened. It was a very stressful month though for me, for sure, because I had a lot of projects that were coming up, and basically they're mostly to prepare for the final projects that are going to be due either the end of April or the very beginning of May. So that was basically a lot of what the projects were for, and the month didn't start out the greatest for personal reasons, but I did end up finding a lot of good things about the month that I really enjoyed, so here they are. So for books this month, I finished 3 books, and they were all part of a series, the Dreamhouse Kings series, which you guys have seen the book reviews on. I just posted the second and third books a couple of days ago, and I think out of the 3, my favorite had to have been the first one, House of Dark Shadows. Mostly because it was a really interesting start to a new series. There was a really interesting concept of a house that has some kind of sci-fi, magical kind of abilities where you're able to go into a room and you're essentially teleported to another place or even time, which I thought was really cool. And it was very scary too towards the end of it, which made me kind of really interested because the novel itself is supposed to be for maybe a higher middle grade young YA reader. So I was very impressed that Robert Leparlo actually created a series that was much more intense than is normally seen for that kind of age range. For music this month, I really didn't listen to too much. However, Crown the Empire a lot this month, and I realized that I hadn't gotten their new album yet. So I did, and the album is called Retrograde, and I really like it. It's definitely very different, I think, than their last few albums, which have been very dark. It's not really so much lighter as like it's poppy, but it's definitely lighter in the term of like it's not as heavy on the instruments, I feel, as the last albums for Crown the Empire were. For TV shows this month, I actually got into really 2 new TV shows, but they're not really new. One of them isn't. The other one is actually on Nickelodeon, and it's Loud House. I don't know what it is about this cartoon, but it is so funny to me because there's not many shows where you have to deal with stuff like with Cheaper by the Dozen, where you have so many family members in one household, especially with the fact that he is the only boy besides his dad in the family, and he has to deal with 10 of his siblings, which are all girls. It's just really funny to me, and I feel like a lot of the things that come up are actually very realistic for this kind of a family. I was just watching an episode a couple of days ago where they all kind of had each other's backs, and so when they helped Lincoln with getting back into the house before their parents realized that he had missed curfew, and he basically, in order to pay them back, had to help take over their parts of the cleaning of the house the next day, stuff like that. So I felt that I feel like a lot of the episodes are very realistic in terms of what would actually go on in this family for Lincoln, the main character himself, and what he would have to do in order to try to survive living in this house with 11 females and 1 other male. Then the other show that I really got into was actually because of Robert, and that's because he's been watching it a lot over the last couple of months, and it's Breaking Bad. Now, this show is much older, but I've only caught a couple of episodes while watching it with him, like when we just be, lounging around, he would just want to watch something, and I really like it. I think there's a lot of interesting things, especially about Jesse and Walt. I'm very much interested in going back through and watching the whole thing, but as you guys probably know, I didn't even finish Orange is the New Black because I explained this in my vlog that it is so hard for me to be able to sit and watch a Netflix series as opposed to a YouTube video. You are so much more invested in the show because there's so many episodes you have to go through, and so if you want to get through it, you have to watch so many in a time span. With a YouTube video though, most of the time it's not a part of a series. It's usually anywhere between 5 minutes to an hour of just somebody, for me at least, somebody playing a game that doesn't necessarily need to be a part of a series. Or if it is a part of a series, I'm gonna have to wait for the next part to come out. So it's easier for me to sit and watch those videos and have very breaks in between than sitting and watching an entire series on Netflix that I could be so absorbed in. I can't do it. I can't force myself to sit and watch 5 episodes in one night unless I'm on break or something, but it's really weird. For movies this month, very early in the month, I, for the first time, watched the movie Doctor Strange from Marvel Studios. And I watched it because I hadn't seen it yet, and I was really interested because I really like Benedict Cumberbatch as an actor. So my dad had told me that the movie he thought was awesome. It seemed to follow the comic pretty well in his opinion because he's a big comic nerd, and so he'll pick out the stuff like here and there about that it doesn't work. And I really enjoyed it. I thought the movie was really interesting, especially since the main person who helps Strange basically get through his period of depression and lament, and she basically opens his mind to these interesting worlds that he would have never thought about because he's so stuck in his one vision of the world. And I really enjoyed that kind of perspective because I feel like we're so grounded in what we can visually see that we are unable to conceptualize anything else outside of that. And I feel like this movie really hit that home, that there is more to this world than we can really realize. So for events this month, I really didn't get to do too much throughout the month. My spring break was very beginning of March, and to be honest, that wasn't very great, and again, for personal reasons. But then this month was also, again, very stressful with projects, but what was really cool was when I got done with all those projects, I literally had a day where I told you guys about this, where I just sat and recorded videos upon videos and did nothing but that, which made me so happy because I had missed so many videos over the course of the week a couple of weeks ago because of these projects, and I was falling behind and I needed to get caught back up with them. And then when they were done, I had a whole day and a half where I just did nothing but record videos after I was done with my classes, which was awesome because I caught up on everything for the most part, and I felt like so much more relaxed, and I definitely felt more like myself after I was doing all of that. So that probably had to have been my favorite part of the month, since the month of March was pretty rough for the most part. But yeah, so that's basically all I've got for my March 2017 favorites. Nothing really too much. I mean, like I said, I've been super busy lately, and this month is only going to be even crazier because this month is when a lot of my final papers for my classes are going to be due. So there's a lot of work that goes into those, but I think I've got a pretty good idea of what I want to do with them and how I want to work on them. So we'll hope for the best. So thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below to subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys!